This week's edition of Ask Rachel will be all on college tuition, saving for college questions. So you guys can submit any questions you have, not just about college, but anything in regards to money to any of my social accounts. So it could be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, it doesn't matter. Post questions because my team and I, we are looking for those because I want to be able to answer some of your questions here on the show. All right, Kenzie asks, what should a high school student be doing to save for a car or be more prepared for college? Well, the key here is to avoid debt completely, Kenzie. The earlier you can get this mindset, the better off you're going to be. So a car, you can save up, you can talk to your parents. Sometimes parents will do things like maybe match how much you've saved, or maybe you buying a car, it's all up to you. It doesn't matter either way. It is possible, you can do it. So put money aside, work, save up for that car. Now college, totally different story, totally different ballgame there. So number one, again, talk to your parents. Say, hey, listen, I just need to know as I'm planning for college, what you guys are thinking about. Because to be honest, some high schoolers, they get to like the point of graduation in May, their senior year, and their parents are like, oh, by the way, X, Y, and Z, either you have to pay for college or we have a college account for you that you may not have known about. So if those conversations are not happening, the earlier you can have them with your parents, the better off you're going to be. So do not, though, feel entitled that they have to pay for your school. Some parents feel guilt or the shame that they don't have money to pay for their kids' college. I don't want parents to feel that, and I don't want students to feel like that's the only way they can go to school debt-free is just from their parents, because that is not true. So talking to your parents, number one. Number two, choosing a school that you can afford. This is really important because the moment you step over a state line or go to a private college, the tuition almost doubles, sometimes triples in some cases. So go to a school you can afford, even if it's a community college for the first year or two. I promise, do what you can to stay in the lines of your budget. Say, okay, here's an affordable school. And then apply for scholarships and grants. This is free money. So go apply for as many as possible, get as much money as you can. And then lastly, know if you have to work, it's going to be okay. You're going to survive in college if you have to work. So this could be getting a part-time job. It could even be working for your college or university, maybe working on campus somewhere, because they can help with tuition reimbursement sometimes, depending on the program or the situation. So look around and get creative that if you have to work to see how much of that money can be applied to college specifically. So those are some things you can do. Again, it's probably a lot that I just gave you, but working through this as early as possible, even your freshman, sophomore year, start by having those conversations with your parents and know where you're at, because it is still possible today. Even though people think it's crazy, it is true. You can still go to college without student loans. Lauren asks, where in the baby steps would you recommend starting to attend or save for graduate school? Yeah, graduate school is great. I mean, if you can continue on your education, and especially if you are in a field where you need that continued education, then graduate school might be your next step. I will say, it may not have to be your next step. Some people do go to graduate school right after getting a 4-year education because it's like, well, just kind of the next thing you do. I'm gonna go get a master's in business, or I'm gonna go get a master in X, Y, and Z. And sometimes you don't need that master's degree to go and win in the real world. Like, go take a few years, see what you can do. But if you're in a field that, yeah, you specifically need a master's degree, then you do know, okay, eventually I'm gonna have to get this to advance specifically in your career. And that's great. So what I would do there is I would do it in baby step 3B. So usually this is where you save for a down payment of a house. But I would even do this to say, okay, yeah, if you need to save up some money for graduate school, you can. So this means you're completely debt-free. You have a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then you can start saving on the side. Now, baby step 4 is saving 15% of your income into retirement. So I don't want that to not be used. I don't want you not funding retirement for a long period of time. So if you can save up for grad school pretty quick, kind of get some money under you, knowing that you'll probably be working through grad school and actually cash flowing that, I want you to start funding retirement as soon as possible. So I don't want that graduate degree to go on for like 8 years and you don't fund retirement. So you might get to a point where you say, you know what? I'm out of debt. I have my fully funded emergency fund. I'm going to spend the next, 6-8 months and save a big pile of money for graduate school and then continue to cash flow it so that way I can start funding retirement. That would be a great plan. Or you could say, you know what, I don't really need graduate school until, probably the next 3 or 4 years. I'm gonna go ahead and start funding retirement, but on the side as well, be saving for graduate school. So either one of those choices is great by me, but always cash flowing it. That is what is so, so important. Again, because I get these stories, you guys, where people end up like 6 figures in student loan debt, or because they went and got their, they went to graduate school and they didn't really even need to advance in their career, and they have so much debt, like the return on investment didn't make sense. I heard, from this assistant principal, and she had $330,000 in student loan debt. She's an assistant principal making $63,000 a year. Yeah, not a great return on investment. So I'm not mad at assistant principals. If anything, I'm very grateful. My daughter has an amazing one at her school, so I'm very thankful for people in education and all different fields around, but you need to really, really think through and be smart about how you're doing this, because again, student loans are so freaking normal that people don't even think. They just see, okay, that's how much tuition is, I'll just sign away and just worry about that later. And then that later comes and it's like, what did I just do? So the more you can think through it, the better off you're gonna be. All right, the last question is from Yuzmina, and she asks, my daughter has a full scholarship, yay, and still will have $52,000 in debt just by being in a dorm for 2 semesters and a few other mandatory fees. Ooh, how do I get out of this? She will have 2 other semesters to go and could incur another $50,000 in the future. $52,000 in debt just for being in the dorm for 2 semesters and a few mandatory fees. Okay, I think something's probably not accurate. If it is accurate, run. Tell your daughter to run away from the school. That it costs $52,000 just to be in the dorm? That can't be right, y'all. Unless you're like on the club level of the Ritz. Maybe it costs that much. There's no way a dorm should cost that much money. No. Don't live on campus if that's the case. Go rent an apartment with like 5 other girls and just call it a day. If you're forced to do this, this is not a smart decision to pay $52,000 to be in a dorm and have other fees. So at this point, I don't care that she has a full-time, a full ride scholarship, because she still is going to incur all this debt. And it's interesting the way she worded the question. She said, my daughter has a full scholarship and still will have $52,000 in debt. She doesn't have to. Even the way it's phrased, it's like, oh yeah, this is what she's going to do, so it's gonna happen. She doesn't have to do that. So this is what's so difficult though, I know, for parents, because it's like, I get it, you don't wanna be this controlling tyrant, but you also, parents, have a responsibility to walk your kids through smart decisions, making a smart decision. Now, my opinion still would be the same if the $52,000 was tuition. I still would say, no, don't go to another school. But the fact that it's $52,000 for just the dorm and a few mandatory fees, that's not smart. It's not smart to pay that kind of money just to live in a dorm. So no, I wouldn't do it at all. Run for the hills, no thank you. So again, walking and talking with your daughter through this process is gonna be extremely, extremely important. And if she's dependent upon your name going on this loan, you could say, I'm not doing it, because it's not gonna be good for her. When you walk out with $100,000 in student loans, again, not even for tuition, just for living in a dorm, talk about the rate of return, the rate on investment, we were just talking about in the last question. This makes no sense, absolutely no sense. And so I would not do it at all. So I would say, sorry, I think I'm good. Again, I keep going back to these numbers. Maybe not saying you are confused, but look into it and figure out what this is, because this means it would be $100,000 for 2 years. Guys, there's places that you can buy a house for $150,000 or even $100,000. That's not that should not be correct. And if it is, I would not go. I would not go to that school. So that's my answer for you, because man, having these tough situations, you're asking an 18-year-old to make decisions about their life that, I even read from some scientists or something, the frontal parts of your brain aren't even developed until you're 25. And I'm like, these kids are making decisions that are gonna affect them for decades to come. So being smart and taking those brains, because she's obviously extremely smart because she got a full ride scholarship, go to an in-state public university. She'll get a full ride, no problem, but it didn't cost this much to live in a dorm. So Make smart decisions, help your kids see them, because again, you are giving them such a gift by talking about the subject of college, you guys, I'm telling you. And if you wanna check out Anthony O'Neill, he has a scholarship tool on his site, anthonyoneal.com, if you wanna check that out. So if you know someone that's going to college, or you are in college, then make sure to check that out. Because again, those scholarships and grants, free money. And if you guys, again, ask any question you want on any of my social channel platforms, and we will be looking at those and answering your questions on the segments like this of Ask Rachel.